Scion. V'yidaber Hashem Moshe Lemor. Tzor es hamidyonim. It's very interesting. Tzor es hamidyonim. So you should cause them, see them negatively, to be able to want to bring pain upon them. See this, I don't know how English translates it. Tzoror es hamidyonim, v'kisem osam, and then you will smite them. How does he translate tzoror?
Harass.
Harass. Harass the midyonim, and then you will smite them. Why? Ki tzorahim lochem b'nichlem asher nichlu lochem al dvar por. Because they had harassed you or tried to undermine you with the machinations which they had plotted through the Dvar Balpor, Val Dvar Kozbi Bas Nisi Midjon Achosam Hamuka Biyom Abagefo Al Dvar Por. Okay. So Rashi says in Yudches, Shefkir ben Esem Lisnus, they allowed their daughters to be available for promiscuity, to draw you into the idolatry of Bithapor. Now, as it said earlier, initially the women went out and they were very attractive and they lured them to engage sexually with them. And when they wanted to cohabit with them, immediately they pulled out their rod and said, no, first you have to worship the idol. Once you worship the idol, then we're available. So they plotted and they schemed. The ultimate thing was they should do the Balpor, this type of idolatry. But they plotted and they schemed with their daughters, ultimately, that they should cross the line of idolatry. So because they were so scheming and plotting to destroy you, therefore, and not only that, to the point that they allowed the princess of Midyan to be available also to encourage this, and there was the Magefa, there was the plague, therefore they should be destroyed. Okay? So over here, there's no Rechaim HaKodesh, which asks a question. I mean, if they're supposed to be destroyed, what's this whole idea? Harass them, then destroy them. Soror means you should see them in the most negative light, and then you should destroy them. What do you need? This prerequisite of first harassing them and seeing them in a certain light, and then you destroy them. We find later at the battle when they went to destroy Midyan, Moshe, there were only 1,000 men of each tribe. And when Bilam saw this, Bilam, he laughed. He says, initially you couldn't beat me. And now with 12,000 men, do you think you're going to win this war? So the Rechaim HaKodesh explains, this wasn't just a conventional war here. This was because of the Balpor. The level of contention between good and evil, this was the ultimate showdown. And that's the reason why the people who went to this war had to be handpicked. And not only had to be handpicked, but their intention had to be over there. It says at the actual battle, Hashem says, you should go avenge the vengeance of Yisrael, b'midjan. And Moshe says, avenge the vengeance of Hashem. So over there, Hashem says to Moshe, I said to you, when you tell the Jews to go, or the objective is to avenge the vengeance of Yisrael. Why did you tell them to avenge the vengeance of Hashem? So Moshe answers that until Sinai, we weren't seen in a negative light, to be destroyed. But since we've become your people, we became the Am Hashem, now we have this contention, the good and the evil, and they want to destroy us. So in reality, although you said, excuse me, the vengeance of Yisrael, but it really is the vengeance of Hashem. Of course, the core issue is what we represent. It's not who we are, it's what we represent. That's Rashi citing the Medrash. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh over there explains that if let's say they go to war and they want to avenge that 24,000 Jews died in the plague, that's not fully lishma. This battle has to be purely for the sake of God. To be able to be victorious over the evil forces, they have to do it purely for the sake of Hashem. Because this battle was a battle not only good and evil, there was sorcery, there were many things going on there. And as a result of that, now, so how does a person bring himself to avenge it for the vengeance of Hashem? To do it purely selflessly for God. Maybe you'll do it because of what? Because yourself, you have some kind of axe to grind. Your relative died in the plague, a friend died in the plague, a fellow Jew died in the plague. So he explains that if you see them in this negative light and you reflect on their evil intention, then as a result of that, it's like, I'll give you an example. A woman wants to seduce a man, and she's very attractive. And then afterwards, a person doesn't do it. He has to suppress his desire and doesn't cross the line. But he's only not doing it because he knows it's wrong. What about if he knows that this woman, when she seduces him, she's actually going to kill him? It's all a ploy to kill him. Immediately he sees that attractiveness as evil, as Machiavellian. This is not in any way that she's offering a service, that she wants him to benefit, but rather it's to destroy him. Immediately when you realize that, and you're able to internalize that reality, your interest, the person loses every desire for that person. So over here, to do it purely for the sake of God, and the purity of thought was crucial in the success of this battle, you have to see them in the most negative light. Tzores and Midyanim. You should have to harass them, see them what kind of bad people they are. This whole thing with the women going out to seduce you and entice you, it was all that you should cross that line, do the Baal Pa'or, because ultimately that's the only way you'll be destroyed. And that's why there was a plague. So it's not because your brother died in the plague, or your friend died in the plague, or the Jews died in the plague, but rather, they themselves, all this was a ploy. And by understanding that, you're able to internalize the reality, and then you'll do it purely for the sake of Hashem. And if you're at that level of pure thought, then that will be the basis for victory. That's how the Orach Chaim HaKadosh explains. That's why there's the prerequisite of Tzororis HaMidyanim. First harass them, see them as bad people, and then you will go smite them. And that's why it goes to explain, because what was their intention? Kitzarim lachem b'nichleim. They actually did bad to you through the machinations that they plotted with the Baal Pa'or. That was ultimately to cross that line. And what was the purpose of the women coming to entice you? They even allowed the princess, the daughter of the king, to cohabit with the prince, all to bring you people down. So you see what they were willing to do for the sake of destroying you. So when you realize that, then you do it, then it becomes, it's Nikbas Hashem. Now we're avenging God's honor. It's not us. It's not a personal fight, but it's the holy fight against Midyat. Over here, there's an interesting Rashi. He asks a question, maybe the Midrash, on Yudches, Vesmov Lotziv Lahashmid. Why were only the Midianites? Midianites had to be destroyed. What about Moab? It was Benos Moab. The Moabite women also went out to entice, to seduce the Jews. Because Rus was ultimately going to descend from Moab, so if Moab would be destroyed now, there would be no Rus in the future, as he quotes the Gemara. So therefore, in the merit of Rus, since Rus had to be born into existence, who was the grandmother of David HaMelech, therefore Moab couldn't be destroyed. They deserved to be destroyed. But because Rus had to come into existence, therefore Moab couldn't be destroyed. So the question is, the Rechaim HaKodesh explains in Parshas Kiseitze the whole concept of Eshes Vastor, that if you see a woman in battle and you're attracted to her and so on and so forth, you prefer to take her and convert her to be your wife and so on and so forth. And over there it says even if she's unattractive, but somehow there's some kind of attraction. So the Rechaim HaKodesh over there asks, who goes to battle? We're talking about a Mechemes Mitzvah over there. We're talking about only the holiest of holy go. People like the Chofetz Chaim go, more than the Chofetz Chaim. These people are attracted to a non-Jewish woman. David HaMelech was attracted to a non-Jewish woman. What is it all about? So he goes to explain over there that at the time of the Chet of Adam HaRishon, when he ate of the Eitz Hadas, there were special souls that were created. And Sodom went and captured these souls. And he's not going to release them. And these souls were meant to actually cleave to Hashem. But because he captured them under the guise of evil, and every once in a while, they could be released. In battle, if a Jew of special calibers, it's not due to the physical attraction, some kind of attraction, maybe that's an indication that that soul is that special soul. And if the Jew goes and cohabits with, takes as a wife, that soul automatically is released and becomes part of the Jewish people. And he says, who are one of those special souls, the most special soul? Rus HaMoaviyah. Ruth the Moabite had that most special soul. And the whole story, what happened, we read in Rus, they went to Avras Moab, stay Moab, and they married, they came back, the whole story. That's how that soul was released. That's Rus HaMoaviyah. So Rus was that special soul. So the nation of Moab was saved and not destroyed, because they would have been destroyed, there wouldn't have been Rus. That soul would have never come to become part of the Jewish people. So the question I asked was, what if that soul have to be born a Moabite? Let that soul be born as some other nation. There's 70 root nations. So the reason Moab really deserved to be destroyed, it wasn't because Rus had to be born. Okay, destroy Moab, and Rus, if that soul has to be born to existence, it'll be born through some other people, another nation, another nationality. So what we once said was, now why Rus was a granddaughter of Balak. Now why did Balak merit to have such a special granddaughter?
There were 7 altars.
So the Gemara says, where do we see mitoch shlo lishmo bolishmo, that Balak, under the instruction of Bilam, built the 7 altars a number of times and brought on each altar two sacrifices for Hashem, although he's a pagan. Although the objective to bring those offerings was to destroy the Jewish people. So that was shlo lishmo. But since factually he brought those sacrifices for Hashem, it has value. So from there we learn mitoch shlo lishmo bo lishmo, that even on a shlo lishmo level, it has that special value. So Balak had to be rewarded. Balak had to have Rus being his descendant. Normally that soul could have come from someone else. But that special soul had to come from Balak because he merited to be the one that should be his descendant, because he had built those altars and he brought sacrifice for Hashem, although it was with an ulterior motive to destroy the Jewish people. Therefore, as a result of Balak's bringing those korbanos, he saved the day. Because due to that, he merited Rus should be his granddaughter, his descendant. If Rus has to be his descendant, automatically the nation of Moab cannot be destroyed.